Hello everybody, I am Baltmatrix, and today we're going to be taking a look at something that's just a little bit evil. We are taking a look at Magic Square Overlord, otherwise known as MS-B11 Overlord, aka Legends Class Motormaster. This is the third figure in the Stunticon set from Magic Square, and yeah, it's neat. It's very neat. Size comparison-wise, here is the other two Legends class Stunticons. We've got Overlord and then, oh crud, I can't remember the name of these two. Beatback and Collide. And yeah, they're tiny. I mean, they're Legends class figures, but they are very, very cool. For that Legends class scale that I've been talking about, here is Kingdom Core class Optimus Prime compared to the others. And this Optimus Prime is even smaller than a Legends class figure or a recent Legends class figure. So you could get an idea of the scale we're talking about here, especially in vehicle mode. Now, a lot of the third-party Motormasters that have come out have the cab being Motormaster, and then the entire trailer being the skeleton for the combined mode. That's the same thing we've got here. Motormaster, or Overlord, is this little cab. I mean, the hands are right there, for crying out loud. And then that whole thing transforms into a skeleton of Menasor. Let me tell you, this thing, its transformation is insane at this scale. This guy's transformation is really cool. I mean, really, really cool. So let's go ahead and get into it. For the transformation, we're going to start out by coming to the very back of the figure and unpegging the rear wheels and just pull them off to the side. Grab the fists, fold them all the way out, and then we want to actually take the hands and fold them all the way out. Then there are these little panels that we flip inside to fill in the forearms. And then the arms are pretty much complete, except we've got to, get them out of the way so we can make room for the rest of the figure. So to start that process, grab the top of the vehicle mode and pull it away from the front. Then grab the little fuel tanks on the side and pull them away from the figure like this and fold them out. Grab the entire front of the figure and fold it down and out, and then what was the back of the cab will flip up and peg into the top of the cab. Split the front of the cab open, and this is incredibly cool. Take the feet, or take the front bumper and flip it out to the side. Come to the front grille, turn that 180 degrees around. Then there's this other grille section that folds out and folds over the bumper, and then the whole thing folds down like this. And then you can take the section that we opened up before, flip the fuel can around, and this whole section will peg into place as the back of the leg. You actually didn't gain any height, but you gained some toes, effectively, and it really makes a convincing transformation when all you're really doing is flipping out one piece and flipping around a panel. And you end up with just a really cool-looking G1-styled foot. It's really smart the way they did this. Now, the torso is a little bit kind of weird. To start off with, take the crotch plate and fold it down. Grab what was the top of the cab and spin it around 180 degrees between what is the back of the cab and the legs. Then there are these tiny little pegs that fold in, and this is what the actual fuel tanks pegged into earlier. So you want to fold them down and then push the torso down into place. Fold the wheels out, and these little flaps that were on the back of the bed, fold them in to where the wheel is, and then this whole wheel section will collapse. So flip that in, fold the wheel in, and just leave that there for right now. Grab the arms and unpeg them, and then flip them around to the front of the robot mode, come around to the back, flip up the head all the way, and then we can turn those wheels 180 and fold them in to fill in the chest and the backpack. Fold the head down, turn it around, take the back, fold it up, collapse it, and peg it into the back of those wheels. Believe it or not, this is the hardest part of the transformation, because in order to get these wheels to peg in correctly, you kind of have to hold them with your fingers and then just pray that things line up and that you don't curse yourself out of a YouTube video monetization. Then when everything's connected up, fold the shoulders in. Unfortunately, they don't peg into place. Fold the arms down and straighten them out, and we're done. The robot mode that we end up with is absolutely fantastic. I love the way this thing looks. And some folks on Twitter said the same thing, but others said that it's really a shame that Magic Square is being kind of slavishly addicted to G1. And I get the sentiment. I really understand the sentiment. What I don't like, however, is the cat. Hopper, come on, dude. Can you please get out of my picture? Now I will be the first one to tell you that their sticking with G1 is getting a little old, but I think that's kind of the point, and at this size scale, or size, I don't mind. This Overlord figure, aka Motormaster, is fantastic. I mean, it's everything from a Motormaster figure that I have ever wanted. I do wish it was just a smidge bigger. I get the whole Legend size class, but for the price, I really would like it to be bigger. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm far from it. I love this thing, but man, I really would like it to be just a smidge bigger. The figure comes with 2 accessories, the first of which is a really big gun, and the second of which is a really big sword, or at least compared to the rest of the figure. And for posability, wow, this thing is good. It's so good. He's got so many joints and swivels and pivots, and it just works really well, and you can get some absolutely wonderfully dynamic poses out of this thing. And because my good buddy Vangelis requires it, the figure can totally do ab crunch crotch thrust. Crotch thrusting aside, or ab crunching aside, one of those, you can see here that Core Class Prime is so much smaller than Overlord in robot mode. I mean, we're talking heads smaller. And you might be wondering, well, what about other Legends class figures? Well, here's a Legends class Beachcomber. Still a lot smaller than this. But it's much smaller than a current Deluxe class figure, so it sits somewhere between a Core class or Old Legends class and current Deluxe. I really wish I had like a Beast Machines Legends class figure here, because I have the sneaky suspicion that a Beast Machines Legends class figure would be just a smidge bigger than this guy. And for those wondering, here is Overlord compared with the other, or one of the other 2. I just didn't feel like transforming the other one, because we're going to be getting into the combined mode here in a second, and there's enough transforming going on. Anyway, he's easily a head bigger. Now, you may be wondering, how's Prime stack up? Well, Core Class Prime is still shorter than the Legends class figure of Lockdown. Jeez. I can never remember the name of these other 2. Collide, yes. Breakdowns, a third-party figure. Yeah, this is a good size class. Again, wish they were a little bigger, but that's just me being old and finicky. So, at the end of the day, I think this is a great little figure. I really do. I am just super happy with it. I think it is wonderful. It's pricey. It's pricey. There's nothing I can do about that except, pay the surcharge to get the figure. So, even though I love this figure a lot, let's get into the trailer, because that's what we're all coming here for, is the combined mode. And hold on to your butts, because this is a bit much. If you're familiar with DX9, Fan Toys, and is it Ocular Max? Is that the other one? I think so. This is a lot more complicated than it looks. To give you an idea, gonna stand it up. Hello, Menosaur Head. If you hadn't guessed by now, this whole trailer unfolds and becomes the skeletal structure for the third-party Menosaur. And there are a lot of options with that, which I'll talk about once we get into the skeleton, but just for your own information, this can be kind of divided up into 3 sections. From the midpoint, this seam right here, back, this whole section back here and under here become the legs and the feet. This midsection, where this panel is, right here, where the width of my 2 fingers, this becomes the hips. And then everything past this panel to the front of the cat, or front of the trailer, becomes the arms, chest, and head. So yeah, let's get unfolding. Now, all we've done are the legs, and that is the back half of the trailer mode. And that is how big that back half is. We've effectively added an entire deluxe class figure. Roughly I would say 3/4 of a deluxe class figure, because the very back of that trailer is the bottom of the knee. Like, the very back of the trailer mode is the bottom of these knees. So, okay, maybe actually a better comparison would be a Legends class figure that I just dropped. Yeah, we've added we've added an entire beachcomber onto the bottom of that thing. And this, my friends, is the skeleton of Menasor from Magic Square. I mean, we practically have the combiner here, all done by itself. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because it allows the figures to be unique and different and their own. And the size, comparatively, is just, it's huge compared to the individual figures. Now, I realize that a lot of you out there aren't going to like this. I completely understand, because effectively it's, 2 of the vehicle modes slap onto the back of the legs, 2 of the vehicle modes slap onto the arms, and then the 3rd or 5th vehicle mode goes into this cavity in the chest. Yeah, I feel you. I honestly do. But I'm okay with this. And the reason I'm okay with this is because I don't know how else they would be able to pull this off. Yeah, we've got the Combiner Wars. That's one way to pull it off, but it's not exactly accurate to the figures that we all remember, or the characters that we all remember, where this more or less is. Now, something that they're doing here that's very interesting, at least to me, is there are multiple modes that we can go with this Menasor. Like, 4 of them. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But hey, this giant skeleton is a fully transforming skeleton that turns into a trailer for the leader of the pack. And posability is pretty darn good. Head is on a series of ball joints and hinges. You got movement here in the arms, plenty of movement, elbows, swivels, fists. Heck, the hands are incredibly well articulated. Each finger is individually articulated, and then the thumb is articulated with an actual extra joint there at the top of the thumb. Hip swivel, ab crunch, legs forward and back, all the stuff moves out of the way, swivel, over 90-degree bend at the knee, foot articulation for days. I mean, I honestly don't know how else they would be able to pull off such a dynamic figure if they didn't go this route. And that's the same for all the other third-party Stunticons. I honestly don't know how they would do it without it being an utter mess. Mini Menasor comes with 2 giant accessories. 1, a giant purple gun. And 2, a giant sword that is bigger than a deluxe class figure. This is really cool. There is something to be said about being able to mirror the poses between the leader and the combiner. Now to get Mini Motormaster here to actually combine with that, we have to pseudo return him to vehicle mode. And that's not hard to do. The transformation for this little dude, as I said, is fun. It's not hard. Once you get the hang of it, it's very easy. You can transform him in just a matter of minutes, and I like it. I like it a lot. So we'll go ahead and... Oh, there we go. Almost transformed it back. So what we do is unpeg that section, or the top of the cab mode, flip it around 180, fold the entire back up like this, and then put the cab top flush with the wind scoop, and that's it. And then we just shove it in to the back of the combine mode, that is. So just slide it in place, lift up the head. There are tabs at the bottom of the front collar that are supposed to peg in right there at the top of the cab. I have found that doesn't always work, but you should be able to get it in, and it sits quite nicely as a nice little backpack. Yeah, that works. I'm not gonna lie, just having the 2 cars down on the back of the legs is dumb. It is. It's dumb. But one thing that is cool is you can grab the feet, extend them, turn the entire leg around, and make sure that the wheel or the cars don't fall off. And then just kind of put the feet down, and you can have the cars up front if you want. Oop, oop, little top heavy there, boy. Now, something that I have not mentioned yet is that this figure comes with a whole bunch of extra kibbles and bits. And those kibbles and bits are shoulders and a chest. Well, kibble and bit 1, a new chest. Kibble and bit 2, a new crotch plate. Kibble and bit 3, a new head and face. See? Like that. And the original set that were the leg bots, or the feet bots, came with a new set of feet. So, you can, in theory, create and mix and match different components. Like here, on the directions. New head, new shoulders, which come with the arms, new crotch plate, new thighs. Oh, right, these guys come with new thighs and new toes. I forgot about that. And, yeah, the new toes thing. This stupid thing has a tendency to drop toes. Its toes fall off. So, you can end up with a much more G1 animation style of a figure. Now, one other thing I want to really show you folks is the other arms, the arm modes. There are actually a couple of different versions of the arm modes. The first version of which is you split the arm guys apart, and one arm goes on, or one top of the arm and then the bottom of the arm. So that's this section up here. And then you can also add these extra panels in and put the cars to the top of the shoulders, so you end up with arm mode number 2, which is my least favorite. And then you can do something where you're literally just taking the entire arm section, the entire arm component, and just attaching the fists. So you get arm section number 3, which in terms of looks is probably my favorite, but we'll have to see depending on when all the arms come in. It's nice to have options. It's really nice to have options. Oh, and if you're wondering, that is what the figure looks like with the cars at the front. I have a tendency to, when I turn them around, have the cars fall off. It's just me being, not really safe with it. Oh, here, I'll do it. The Knot, or what is the name? Collide, whatever the Knot breakdown figure is, doesn't have a tendency to hold on to the figure really well or hold on to the connectors really well. That's just me not being able to line up the holes quite right. And before we end this video review, I would be remiss if I didn't show you the size that the full Menasor is going to be coming in at. It's bigger than MP10 Prime. Overall, I am very happy with the purchase of these two sets. They're not cheap. That's not the point, though. They are as close to G1 accurate as I want to get, in a size class that I think works, for a price that's mostly reasonable. Mostly. I mean, we are talking third-party prices here. Now, I picked up both of these sets over at the Chosen Prime. They are still in stock, so head on down to the description of this video, and that'll shoot you over to the Chosen Prime so you could purchase them for yourself. I haven't seen these sets, or this set, show up at the Big Bad Toy Store yet, which I find a little odd, but oh well, if I do, I'll throw that in the description as well. So folks, let me know what you think of this set down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I have been Baltmatrix, and I'll catch you all next time.